Yes, guys, we are back today with 6 running backs in 2025 fantasy football that I believe are not getting the credit and the respect that they deserve. Dare I say they're a bit slept on. So let's begin with number 1 on the list, Ashton Genty. Now you might say, Joe, Ashton Genty's not a sleeper, okay? He is a top 6 consensus pick on ESPN overall at the moment, which is a little crazy, but okay, fair enough. I'm not saying he's a sleeper. I'm saying that in your home leagues with your companions who you play against, the majority of players, guys, are going to be a little hesitant to click Ashton Genty's name in that first round. And you might think they're not. You might say to yourself, no, not me. I know all about this guy. Okay, I'm happy you do. Keep taking advantage of that. I'm going to tell you why, all right? Why this guy, Ashton Genty, this running back, this rookie running back, should be with the likes of Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay, players like that in those tiers. So let's discuss, okay? He steps into the Raiders backfield as a rookie. Head coach Pete Carroll, offensive coordinator Chip Kelly, all they do is churn out fantasy football running back greatness throughout their careers in the NFL. In Las Vegas specifically, they have the most vacated running back chances, 295 total chances last season, to players that no longer are on the roster, to running backs that no longer are on the roster. That is 70% of all of the team's opportunities last year are now unaccounted for. Okay? That is the most of any team in the NFL. Who do we think is going to get a lot of those chances? Most likely the 6th overall pick, Ashton Genty, okay? And that's a situation that is appealing to any running back. You could be one of the best prospects ever. You could be, some guy who got drafted in the 6th round, barely made the team. That's an appealing situation to you. But with Genty, right, that is an elite situation to be in. And he is one of the best talents, prospects of all time. Last year in college football, guys, most rush attempts, most rushing yards, most rushing touchdowns of any running back, most missed tackles forced, most yards after contact. He really is in the tier of prospects of like Saquon and Bijan. Now, the argument against him, if you will, a lot of people like to say this, he's played 0 snaps. He's a rookie. He's never touched the ball in the NFL. And a lot of people, to be honest, have this rookie fatigue. And it didn't work out so well with the guy by the name of Marvin Harrison last year, okay? Where we say, draft them early. Doesn't matter, they haven't played yet. I said that about Marvin. And I'm going to say it again about Genty here, okay? And by the way, even though Marvin didn't work out, Brian Thomas did, okay, right? There's other players, right? There's other rookies that pay off. Of course, rookies always pay off, right? But we said, or you guys said, the same thing about Saquon Barkley, who finished RB1 overall, okay? His rookie season. He's never played in the NFL, RB1 overall. Literally beat out McCaffrey that year in McCaffrey's prime, right? Najee Harris. He's played 0 snaps, RB3 overall his rookie season. And he's not even on the level of prospect, right? As Genty. Ezekiel Elliott. He hasn't played any snaps, RB2 overall his rookie season. Now, Genty is better as a prospect than at least Harris and at least Elliott, in my opinion. Same tier as Barkley, right? Who, again, RB1 overall his rookie season. And I'm talking about coming out of college. So yeah, end of the day, generational talent, huge workload. Draft him all day with 0 nerves. That's all I'm saying, right? That's all I'm saying. You might think you can do it, but when the players before you have drafted Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, Justin Jefferson, Jahmyr Gibbs, and you're up at like 6th, 7th overall and you're looking at Gibbs, click the button. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a sleeper. I'm just saying don't hesitate. All right. Now we'll get into some guys that are, not consensus top 10 picks. Beginning with number 1, Chase Brown. So Chase Brown, guys, right now is going outside the top 12 running backs in drafts. Okay. In fact, I believe he's a 3rd rounder. Last year to end the season, weeks 9 through 17, per game, he had 24 total opportunities, 85% plus snaps played. I mean, I just want to pause on that. 85% plus snaps played per game is insane. Okay, that's top 2 in the NFL. That's insane. It's like prime Todd Gurley numbers. 85% snaps for a running back. Normally, if a running back's approaching 70% snaps, the mouths are watering in fantasy land. 85% for Chase Brown, 20.6 PPR points per game, and he was RB3 overall. And this is not just for like a couple weeks. This is weeks 9 through 17, guys. This season, I personally think he was unaffected by the NFL draft. Taj Brooks was drafted to the Bengals. And it's funny because, the Dynasty community is, very adamant about their guys. And some of them love Taj Brooks. I don't mind Taj Brooks as a prospect, but we can't go on every single team where a late pick went to a running back and go, no, the starter's affected. No, Jaden Blue is another example, right? Taj Brooks, we like these guys. Some of them will hit. Not every single late round pick that went to a running back, right, is going to hit for fantasy. So until we start to see those signs in the NFL, I'm considering him unaffected, all right? Chase Brown by the draft, by Taj Brooks being on the Bengals. Now, Chase Brown is the prime age for running back production in fantasy land. He's 25 years old. Running back scored the most points between ages 24 and 27. And the offense is one of the best, if not potentially the best offense in the NFL, the Bengals, who are due for a monster year with everyone fully healthy, under contract, ready to go. And again, drafted outside the top 12 RBs. So I love Chase Brown's price, all right, because of the things and the teams you can build with him. So like I said, he's going in the third round. Sleeper ADP is 33rd overall. You can begin with two monster wide receivers in your draft like Brian Thomas and Drake London. Have two wide receiver 1 overall candidates. Okay, both those guys have that in their ceiling. And then come back in round 3, get your RB1 with Chase Brown, who can go out every single week and compete with the likes of Saquon and Bijan and Jameer and Henry, right? You can line him up and maybe he'll score more. There's not a non-zero chance. It's probably close to 50-50, right? Or you can start with a Malik Neighbors. You can start with a Brock Bowers in round 2. And then Chase Brown. You have the best tight end. You have another wide receiver 1 overall candidate. And you have another RB1. Okay? So a lot of interesting combinations you can make. You could even do, off the top of my head, if you have an earlier pick, a Justin Jefferson in round 1. Then come back with 2 running backs like a Jonathan Taylor and a Chase Brown. Pretty crazy stuff. And this is the type of value, guys. This is how we're going to cash in on these players, right? All offseason, in all of our mock drafts and all of our underdog drafts, and then eventually on draft day, okay? So, third guy on the list is DeAndre Swift. Now, this one's pretty crazy to me. So, his ADP right now is RB29. So, outside of RB2 range, that's a mid-range RB3, like a flex/bench running back. He has never finished lower than RB21 on a single season in his career. He's played 5 years. All of them have been RB21 or better. And he's only played a full allocation of games, and I believe 1 or 2 of those seasons. So he's missed a game or 2 in the majority of his seasons. Still, never lower than RB21. Weeks 4 through 18 last year, again, that's like 80% of the season. He ranked RB14 in fantasy points per game, into 18-plus opportunities per game. He's 26. We know that from what we were just talking about earlier. Prime age for running backs, right? 24 to 27. 26 is in that range. And the new offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, who we'll talk about in a second, is a genius when it comes to fantasy football running backs. In that range I mentioned before, weeks 4 through 18, last season, okay, he was an RB1 30% of the time, an RB2 36% of the time, and he busted, RB3 or worse range about 35% of the time. So that's pretty good, guys, for an RB that's going outside of RB2 range. That's pretty good. Now, I know I mentioned Ben Johnson. Let's discuss. So, Ben Johnson had 3 seasons with Detroit as the offensive coordinator. He's now the head coach. That's a little bit of a typo there on the screen. Should say HC, head coach for the Bears. Nonetheless, in Johnson's 3 seasons with Detroit, okay, let's talk about the running backs he churned out there. So, David Montgomery, 2 seasons with the Lions, okay, top 24 running back each year, the last 2 seasons. At the same time, Jahmyr Gibbs was busy, going RB10 overall his rookie season 2 years ago, and the PPR RB1 overall last season. So they literally had 2 top 24 running backs each of the last 2 years. One of them was top 10 both years, and that same one was also the best running back in fantasy last year. Crazy. So a lot of the discussion about why Swift is no good or why he's going so late is because there is other talent in this backfield. Roschon Johnson is a monster. There's a lot of people out there who'd love to see him take the lead role. Well, even if he did, maybe Swift slides into that Montgomery role. And I know you're saying Swift isn't a goal line back. I get it, but it's not the point. The point is that two running backs can coexist in this offensive scheme that Ben Johnson's going to bring over. And if Swift is even a 55%, a 60% the lead, I mean, that RB29 draft cost, guys, which is so late in drafts, so late, it's like approaching round 10, is just going to easily pay off. You don't even have to start him. Draft him and sit him and enjoy, okay? Or put him in because he'll probably be paying off. All right, let's move on here to number 4. So get into some rookies now other than Genty. So number 4, Quinshon Judkins, okay? He had a monster combine. This guy's an absolute freak of nature. He's the first 220-plus pound running back since 2003. So that's over 20 years, okay? To run a sub 4.5 40-yard dash and an 11-foot-plus broad jump. Insanity. Just think about what I said. 220-plus pounds, okay? Sub 4.5 40-yard dash, 11-foot broad jump. Dude. Okay, and then during the 40, the splits within, he had the second fastest 10-yard split amongst running backs and the second fastest 5-yard split amongst running backs. Now, the reason that's so important is because he's so big. He can take the workload, take the hits, but then he can also beat you in the open field. And that's exactly why the Browns used second-round capital on Quinshon Judkins, brought him in to be the lead running back. 9.8 relative athletic score, right, out of 10. That's insane. And steps into a huge workload, okay? Now, like I said, the great combine secured him the round 2 capital. Steps into the Browns where, kind of similar to the Raiders, a lot of the opportunities from last year were vacated. 51% of the RB opportunities were vacated, okay? And the competition consists of Dylan Sampson, a rookie out of Tennessee, who was drafted after Judkins, Pierre Strong, and Jerome Ford, who are just simply not good NFL-level running backs. And you think about it, I mean, Jerome Ford was solid for fantasy. He was RB2 value for a lot of weeks last year. Dare I say double-digit weeks here and there, filling in and then eventually in that, quote, lead role, right? He was good. So good for fantasy, but in real life, not quite. And again, I like Sampson a lot. He's a very young running back, and typically when running backs are drafted young, they do very well. But since he was drafted after Judkins, I don't see Sampson, taking that job. All right. 2 quick hitters here to round out the list at number 5. Javonte Williams, he's definitely been pretty disappointing in the career so far. But again, he's slated to be the lead running back in Dallas to start the season. He's a bit of like he's in that Chuba Hubbard role that Chuba was in for the Panthers. Remember last season, everybody just disregarded Chuba, myself included. We didn't think about the range of outcomes there, right? Now, Chuba was a best-case scenario, okay? He came in, he played awesome. Jonathan Brooks never really panned out. He got hurt again, things like that. And obviously, we don't want players getting hurt. We're not depending on injury, but it worked out for Chuba, and he finished as an RB1. Could that happen with Javonte? Potentially. But even if Javonte, guys, just, 6 games, 8 games, 10 games would be awesome of just floating around 18 opportunities a game in a good offense for once. Okay, a good offense for once, where he is the lead RB, or is at least given that chance to go be the RB1 for a team. We get that for, like I said, 6, 8, 10 weeks. This RB30, RB33 draft price that Javonte is seated at right now is just going to be a value. And you have to be, as Ted Lasso would say, you have to be a goldfish. The shortest memory of any animal in the animal kingdom is a goldfish. So last year, Javonte burned you. The year before that, Javonte burned you. Okay, be a goldfish, brother. This guy, DeAndre Swift, never once in my life have I been a fan of DeAndre Swift until I opened up my app and saw his ADP. You have to be unemotional and a goldfish. Okay, now, going to RB6 now on the list. The final guy on the list is Caleb Johnson. So I'm calling him Ashton Genty light. He's not as talented as Genty. He didn't go 6th overall like Genty, all right? But very similar style of player, if you will, in a similar situation. Drafted by Tomlin and the Steelers to be the better and the new Najee Harris. He's a 3-down capable back. He can do it all. All right. And a rookie running back, guys. I just want to remind you, a rookie running back has finished top 12 in points per game for 10 plus years now. And sometimes it's a couple of them. Last year it was Bucky Irving, and that was a pretty weak running back class. It's almost a guarantee that one of these guys, sometimes two, finishes top 12. So obviously Genty is in the conversation, Quinshon Judkins, obviously, and Caleb Johnson really should be right there, okay, next to Judkins, all right? It definitely could be KJ. Now, guys, real quick, I want you guys to head over to the link in the description, the link in the bio, and join the NOEXPERT FF Discord server, guys. So, a few different ways to join, okay? We have an exclusive access where you can join and you get access to all of this. You can ask me as many questions as you want about your fantasy team. I will literally draft your team with you. I will critique and give you advice on every single mock draft you take. And you'll get access to all my rankings, okay? Draft guides, everything. Or you can join for free. You don't want to pay? No big deal. Join for free, guys. You get all of my top 300 draft rankings, all of my player notes, explaining their rankings, targets, avoids, sleepers, everything, guys. Join the Discord, join the community, interact there. Again, links in the bio, guys. That's going to do it for today. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.